recording this webinar, and we will be posting it out on our website and our socials and other places, so you can always refer back to it. You can also always reach out to me if you have questions after the webinar, and schedule some time, and certainly happy to sit down with you and go over the things we're going to cover today. In terms of introductions, of course, I'm Jerry McCoy. I'm the Chief Experience Officer here at Ratio, and we'll be presenting a good bit of the information today, and also have our CTO, Jim Benson, on with me, and he'll be covering the roadmap and some of the AI strategies and updates and things like that. So with that, I'll just cover kind of the agenda. We're going to go over platform updates. Many of these quarterly updates are centered around building, tracking, collaborating within your ecosystems. There's many different ecosystems that our customers have. Some are private, some are public, some include others and a broad ecosystem, and some are more of an internal ecosystem that they don't want others to join. But we support everybody all the same, and these capabilities and updates that we're going to go over today are available to you within your platform. And if you have any questions or issues loading these apps and functionality, I'm certainly here to help. With that, we're going to cover custom forms. Well, this is one of our latest, greatest, and the custom forms are being integrated into many of our other apps to include challenges, evaluations, just surveys and questionnaires. It's a very robust new app. Data Room. The Data Room really is a place for you to have a secure access controlled room that you can share with individuals within the system at the data room level, at the folder, or at the file itself level. So we will go through that. CRM updates, we'll go through kind of how you can integrate your ecosystem into your CRM platform. And then we'll cover AI strategies and updates, many things in that area I think that everybody's going to be excited about. And then some of the supply side updates. Finally, we'll close out with our roadmap. Some of the things we're thinking about doing with an engagements app and a request app, being able to add custom sourcing channels to your actual sourcing and scouting app, and then many more integrations around Salesforce and others. As we go through this webinar, please don't hesitate to use the Q&A function or feature at the bottom of your screen, and we'll be monitoring that during the webinar. Jim, do you have anything you would like to add?
No, other than this is our first webinar, so thank you for everybody. We've heard a lot from folks around, they wanted kind of early insights into what we're thinking, what we're hearing, and we plan to do these quarterly. This audience here is largely for what we call our demand side customers, and those are people that are largely sourcing and using a lot of the challenges and the solicitation tools and other things. It's a lot different than our supply side companies that use it, but I'll cover that a little bit later. So no, thank you, Jerry. I'm good.
All right, well, outstanding. Well, I'm going to go ahead and share here real quick, and I'm going to start walking you through kind of the custom forms and the form and functions of how this works. Let me do a quick share, and hopefully I'll use Jim as my sanity. Jim, you can see my screen, yes?
I can, yes.
All right, outstanding. All right, I'm going to show all these features or demonstrate these features from the Ratio Marketplace, which is our public ecosystem. It's just an easy place for me to show this and not have to get into other people's ecosystems. So with that, custom forms. What are custom forms? Prior to releasing custom forms, we did a lot of, I would say, rigid forms. They were very prescribed on what they were, what kind of questions you were going to ask, what kind of input people could do. It was tied directly to other apps that it would support. And what custom forms really does is allow us to, and I'm actually going to turn off my video here so we don't have any drag. What custom forms allows us to do is it's very flexible, very easy for the user yourself to be able to create these custom forms, deploy these custom forms. You're able to force users when they come in to fill out basically a form, whether it be a survey questionnaire or whatever you want to name it, that could have many things in it, names, points of contact, capability briefs you could have in it, any kind of things you want to create. And I'm going to walk you through one of those right now. In addition, those forms, now we are able to create evaluations off those forms. We have an accelerator customer that has used it extensively, 200 plus submissions for applications, and then evaluated down to the cohort awardees for this year. So it works really, really well. And we'll be expanding that into things like the challenge manager and other places as well. So without any further ado or questions, I will pull up some custom forms here. So this is a custom form that actually is active on this platform or on this ecosystem, and it's a registration form. I'm going to, before we get into how you create it, I just want to kind of preview this particular form. As a user comes into the Ratio Marketplace and joins, the first thing they get is this form. They get this gray background, so they can't do anything, and they have to actually complete the form. It's very basic information. The way the forms are structured, you can have multiple sections and as many fields as you need within each section. And we'll go over some of the field types and when I show you how to create one. But this one's structured pretty simply: personal information, company organization information, communications, and agreements. Again, you can create these for your own. But as you go through, we also tie these to our database. So as the user comes in and they register to your ecosystem, they already gave us their name, they already gave us their email address, they already gave you their phone number and some of those things. So we populate this with that information and don't make them do it again. So any information that we've already captured on them is going to populate as they go through the process. I'll just walk through some more here. Company and organization. This is an important one because of the features we have within the platform. Of course, if you are an open ecosystem, a public ecosystem, part of the what you're trying to do is capture the people and companies, more importantly, that are coming in and kind of bring them into your umbrella of these are companies that I can work with, that I have a lot of information on. It strengthens not only your capabilities as an ecosystem, it also strengthens kind of your ability to source and scout and source capabilities. But what this does is, with this particular field, is it requires them to type in their company name, and it will pull up, if we have a copy of it, it will pull up all the ones that match that, and they can select their company. If not, they can create a company and it will be put into the system. The cool part about that is your ecosystems are set up so that when somebody does that, they become what's called an in-network company, which is another app we have that we can go into more detail in another webinar. But that in company then kind of tags them, puts them into a bucket that says, all right, this is somebody that cares enough about my ecosystem that they've joined it. So for instance, NavalX, this is somebody who wants to engage NavalX. And now you have their company information and the robust company portfolios that we provide as well. So again, you can put content in here. You can put fields in here, and this is just an example, upload, if you will, business status through selections, on and on and on. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us about your company? Do you agree to receive communications from us? Things like that. And then finally, a closing page, which you can type in there, thank you for taking the time to do this, or whatever custom message you want. Again, completely customizable. So when we create a form, it's pretty straightforward. You create a name, type, and these are the type of forms for this ecosystem. Your ecosystem, it's completely customizable. You can have as many types as you want, and then whatever you want. Of course, your active, and then your description, your completion message, and some selections down here. But before we go down there, I want to talk about the description. The description really is that first message you saw when we went through and looked at the form. And it said, thank you for taking the time to, or thank you, please fill out this form, blah, 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 blah. And of course, the completion message is that last message we saw. So this is where you would customize that and put that in. Allow submissions to be viewed. This is when somebody does a submission. it completes the form, it's considered a submission. And do you want that person to know and be notified via email when you look at their submission? I think most of the time, and why we have it defaulted to no, most people don't want that, but some may, so we have that capability here. Force upon login is important. So if you create a form, say it's a survey or questionnaire, and you need people or you want people to fill it out, and you don't, you want a group of people within a role to fill that out, or you want an individual to fill that out. And I'll show you where we're going to add those in a minute. What force upon login does is that immediately their next login, they're going to be forced to fill out that form, and they can't do anything until they fill out the form. So you kind of have a captive audience there to get that information done. Default role and sign up. These are roles that you may have available. And in addition to somebody being forced to do it, we have public links where you can send it out via social media or emails. The link that will allow people to click on that, create their account, and fill out the form. And what that will do is whatever selection you have here, and in this case is company and entrepreneurs, it will automatically put them in that role when they log in and start to fill out that form. I'm trying not to get too detailed, but just a couple more things from my creation. So we did that, and then you come in here, and the form builder is where you create this stuff. Very simple. Consists of creating sections and fields. You will see this is actually mirrors what I just showed you on the preview screen. From a field perspective, we have many fields you can select from, and by all means, play with this after you get off this webinar. But you have many different fields you can select from. You have the ability to make conditional displayed field or conditional fields, and how you want that content formatted. So some great things there on how to create it. If we go back, just to show you how the submissions are assigned. Once you create it, you have your form built, you want to assign that. Ours in particular is assigned to a role, and we can assign it to individuals as well, as I discussed earlier. I don't want to get into too much more detail, but just want to kind of show you what those submissions look like. So these are live. These are actual real submissions that have come into our system. I can filter by complete, incomplete, or finalized and not finalized. But in here, I can select on any of these, and I'm not going to do it because we are on a webinar, but it would be all that information that we're collecting around. And this is Derek Nixon, for instance, from KBR Wiley, that has filled his information out, gave capability brief and everything else. So great, robust information here. Of course, like everywhere, we have export to CSV and other things as well. I'm going to kind of stop there. If you have specific questions, by all means, please ask. Or again, my email address is at the top, and I'm willing to certainly set up some time with you and go over this stuff in more detail. With that, I'm going to go ahead and back out, unless Jim, you have anything to add on there?
No, I'm good. I think the message there is, in prior releases, we're very prescriptive around things, and what we've tried to do is give all of the kind of ecosystems owners the flexibility of being able to capture and collect any kind of information that you want from members within your ecosystem. So whether it's a login, whether you decide that you want to post a link that you're looking for a survey, complete flexibility to be able to do that, then download the information to be able to analyze the results. So no, that's good, Jerry. Thank you.
So I'm going to move on to the data room, and I'll just go ahead and select right here. Pull us into the data room. Again, this is pretty straightforward. It's literally create a room. And in this case, I created the webinar demonstration, but this is the creation form if you wanted to create it. And you're able to look at your data rooms and any data rooms that may be shared with you. So if Jim had a data room in the same ecosystem, he could share it with me. Something we may want to look at in the future is being able to do that cross ecosystems. But right now it's all contained within one ecosystem. Opening up that room, it's going to have, kind of a collaborative, very much like our all of our other messaging or posts, if you will. So a collaborative section where you can interact with the people that you're sharing this with, as well as the data room documents themselves, and the file structure. This file structure or folder structure is completely customizable by yourself within admin again. So I can certainly show you and help you with. In terms of sharing things, so we're at a folder level here, contracts. At this level up here, this is the room level. So again, I can share this room with, say, for instance, Jim, and Jim would be able to see the room and the documents. I can share the individual folders, so they can come in and they can see that this is shared with them. They can see the folder and its contents, or I can share down to just the individual file and share that document with whoever I want to share it with. So it's really, if you go out in the commercial sector, there's literally software that does this. And it's all it does is a deal room or a data room. And if you can think of an accelerator participant within a cohort that may want to share their financials and other things with specific VC people or people that may invest, they're able to do that with this. So it was something we added in here this last quarter or this quarter. And I think it's something that's going to certainly be used extensively by our incubator accelerator customer base and maybe others as well. Jim, would you like to add anything on the data room?
Yeah, I think the only thing that I would add is we heard from a lot of customers that they needed a way in the system to be able to bring people together around private documents, documents they didn't want to share across their ecosystem. And for instance, it could be around a proposal. It could be around a solicitation. So it's a collaborative way of bringing just the people that you need to around specific topics, and having the documents and the collaboration secure.
Outstanding. We did have a question, Jim, that came up, and it's for it says for custom channels, and we'll be going into that here when we get to the roadmap. And will you be able to connect to your own private data, which is actually very interesting. It's something we've talked about, but we'll just table that question for right now, Jim, until you get to the roadmap, and we can talk through some of that.
Yep, that's fine.
All right, so next is CRM updates, and I think this is going to be pretty quick. We've had throughout the years many customers that do many different things, some that are PIAs, some that are nonprofits doing other things, a lot of them doing sourcing. Certainly our sourcing product was the first product out the gate, and in sourcing and creating ecosystems of companies and people, you're going to want to be able to kind of capture that and push that into a CRM tool. We don't want to be a CRM solution. We don't want to build that. It's not really our sweet spot. We do very many CRM-like activities, but we don't want to be a CRM tool. So we created the connectors to be able to connect to your own CRM tools. And those two connectors are actually available, or two of the first two out the gate are available. It's within your settings under API integration. You're able to install packages, whether that be a HubSpot package or a Constant Contact package. And we'll just kind of quickly go through Constant Contact. I'm not going to go into all the detail, but once you install that package, it's as simple as going to configuration, adding your client IDs, your secret client, and there is help for all of this. That takes you step by step on how to configure this. But again, I'm here to help. Once we add these, then you would go to the next step. The next step kind of takes you into, all right, what are the fields that you want to map? Fields from your ecosystem to your CRM system. So maybe you want to push over the first, last name, email address, phone number, when they joined, what type of user are they? It's unlimited to what you want to do based on how many fields you want to create. And then lastly, you'll do a quick test. And then from then on out, anytime anybody joins your system or your ecosystem, updates their company profile, or you add somebody into your ecosystem manually, that will be captured and pushed into, in this case, Constant Contact. But if you had HubSpot configured, it would be HubSpot. We're going to be doing more of these in the future, and Jim will cover that when we go over the roadmap. Jim, anything you want to kind of talk to, or anything I missed on the integration packages, API integrations?
Nope, I'm good.
All right, so with that, we're into AI strategies, updates, and things like that. Jim is going to take over here and talk through some of these things. I will go ahead and stop my share.
Yeah, Jerry, can you go back and bring up the agenda just real quick?
Oh, yes, sir. Let me see.
Yeah, there we go. Yes, so we've had a lot of questions probably over the last couple of months around where are we going with AI, and kind of what's our broader strategy, and how is that going to affect updates that we push out into the ecosystems. I think the first piece is how I would clarify that is we are totally respectful because our client base is largely defense. We are totally respectful of all of the existing and the new laws, regulations, and everything else that are coming out around our responsibilities with AI. There's lots of ways that, as you've probably seen in many different apps and tools that are out there, to be able to use AI. And we're approaching this very not cautiously, but I would say very smartly. And there are areas in our platform where exposing AI capabilities makes sense. And there are other areas that takes a little bit of investment and a little bit of time to make sure that we get right. What I would say, though, is that AI is a line item in our roadmap that we are constantly investing in, maturing, and growing. There are several functions that are in that are in ecosystems today, and we give you the flexibility of being able to turn those on and off. So, for instance, the component or the bot that we have called Eco. Some customers want to be able to expose that because using AI to be able to answer common questions or assist them in developing and putting together challenges or other things or proposals or RFIs or RFPs, their business model and their security model makes sense. Other organizations do not want to do that. So we've given those organizations the ability to turn them off and or on and off based on their business model. So today in the system, if your ecosystem has those things turned on, you can use, and it's in the header, the bot called Eco that is connected to the OpenAI engine or behind the scenes ChatGPT, if you've gone to that. We are absorbing all the costs. We are absorbing all the integration for that on behalf of our ecosystem members. So you'll never get billed extra or anything else like you would with ChatGPT to be able to use that. And those models are always using the latest models that are released from OpenAI, which have gone through rigorous testing with us to be able to look at the data and such before we actually connect it to the model. Whereas if you just go to OpenAI or you go to ChatGPT, you may get older models, and the way those models work is that they're trained on data from years and years ago. So we always want to use the latest model, assuming that it's good and it's secure to be able to provide our users the kind of best results that they can get. So that's kind of step one. And offline, if you guys are interested, please schedule a call with Jerry, and he can walk you through all the different features of where we have integrated it already. In a parallel path, we are also working on our own AI sourcing engine. And that right now is in alpha mode or alpha stage. We're testing that now. But essentially what that is, what that will become is our own kind of private AI sourcing engine. So give you an example. If you went to ChatGPT and you said, tell me how many companies on the East Coast have experience in underwater drones that have won a contract from the Department of Defense, ChatGPT isn't going to know that. So what we're doing is building our own model around our own data that helps us do two things. One is that there's a general set of data that we have around our sourcing stuff where you'll be able to ask questions like that, and we'll be able to summarize companies in that use case. The second piece of that, and this gets into this custom sourcing channels, is as you add data to that, then you'll essentially have your own AI sourcing engine on top of your own data. Totally get that some people will want to do that and others, which kind of goes back to our strategy of giving you the flexibility to be able to turn that on or off. That's where we're at, and you'll see updates of that as we go through these quarterly platform updates. You'll hear more from us or other kinds of communication as new functions and features move out. On the supply side updates, totally get that this is all a demand side webinar, but on the other side of that is many of our ecosystems are shared between those folks that are posting demand, like challenges, like solicitations, needs, and others, where they interact with the supply side. So for instance, you would have some ecosystems that are a combination of companies and capabilities and government folks or nonprofits or others that they want to create and interact with this ecosystem. Related to this discussion, one of the things that we are doing is we're also using AI to be able to strengthen company profiles. So for instance, what we're doing is we're providing the supply side a set of tools where they can use AI to be able to write capability statements, write marketing slick sheets, update their company profile, provide analyze their website to be able to bring back content. And we do that, we want to make it really easy for them. And it's up to them to be able to approve that data. We want to make it easy for them because the more content that we get in about that company, their products, their services, their partners, their marketing, their press, all the other information around, only helps to be able to narrow down sourcing requests that the demand side looks at when they're trying to solve a problem. So we're trying to make it much easier for supply side that then ultimately strengthens the data on your side when you're searching for companies. And again, we're using AI to be able to help them, as well as new updates around being able to upload, like for instance, product catalogs or large sets of documentation around their products. And again, just trying to make it easier so that when people are searching for information, we can actually kind of rank that better than what we can today. Jerry, before I go on to the roadmap, any additions or updates to that?
No, I think you covered everything. We while you go into the roadmap, we are getting another question, and this is around the mobile version, and is there something in the roadmap for that? So as you cover the roadmap, if you would please remember that question, as well as the other question around the custom channels and private data.
Okay, great. So let me just quickly move into the roadmap. these are the three major things that we're focused on that will likely come out in the third quarter of this year. And the engagements will probably be even sooner than that. The engagements piece is how does the demand side, when they have a idea, when they have a challenge, when they have they're thinking about something, how can they engage the supply side to be able to help them ideate and to help them think about solutions or approaches to be able to solve problems. So what engagements, like for instance, we have challenges where you can issue a challenge to the market and people will respond. We have, which is kind of less formal than solicitations. Solicitations are I'm putting something out there and somebody is actually going to win. Engagements is kind of a step before challenges where you want to simply understand what your options are and you need help and expertise from people to help you ideate and think through things before you get to any kind of challenge, before you get to any kind of solicitation. I think of it like I want to pulse the market, or I want to invite people into kind of a workspace where we can work together on solving something before, you know, I go down some a formal path. So engagements right now is in beta mode, and engagements start with what we call requests. So essentially, customers are going to be able to start to model out engagements, and whether those are, I want those engagements to be public, that anybody can join, or whether they want it to be invite only. And then there's an entire set of tools. You can think of it like an engagement workspace, where you can share ideas, where you can think through approaches, where you can upload documentation, where you can finalize requirements, where you can post a schedule around when do I need to be able to solve something. But it's just a way of demand side customers engaging with supply directly versus something that, you know, gets posted online that people can respond to. So let me keep going. Sourcing channels, and this was kind of one of the questions before. Jerry, real quick, what was the question again? Because I don't have it up. Can you bring that up? Are you there?
Sorry, I was on mute, trying to unmute myself. Yes, the question was for the custom channels, will we be able to connect, or will ecosystem owners be able to connect to their own private data?
Yeah. Great question. Something that we're thinking about. So within sourcing, we have brought in an incredible amount of data. We have contracts and things that go all the way back to 2014, SBIRs, subcontracts, you name it. I think you guys have seen all of that if you're using the sourcing engine. And whether it's awards, whether it's SBIRs, whether it's grants, people, investors, you name it. But what we've heard is that, and the request that has came to us is organizations have a lot of data already on their companies or just data in general that they have collected. And maybe those are proposals, or maybe those are white papers. And those things are valuable when it comes to searching for companies and capabilities to be able to solve things. So essentially what we're creating is a new model called custom sourcing channels. And essentially with that, you're going to be able to create a channel that allows you to be able to source from it in kind of two methods. One is, or actually three methods. One is you can actually give us kind of the documents, or you can upload the documents in mass, and we'll kind of store them privately, and I'll come back to that in a second, privately. so that then you're analyzing the documents in line with how you're doing sourcing already. Another way is via API calls. So if, for instance, you don't want to house your documents within this, but you have an exposed API where you can actually query your existing set that sits within your infrastructure, then we're going to be able to do that. And the third way is for us to connect directly via a secure link, whether it's VPN or whether it's some other form of either single sign-on or something that gives us access to data that may be behind your firewall or somewhere else, where we can index that data and to be able to bring it back. From a security standpoint, as you would imagine, this is pretty complicated, and we're taking it slow to be able to make sure that in the event or when we come out with this, that we're not going to do anything that exposes any kind of security problems. At the same time, this entire engine that's around custom sourcing channels will be unique to your ecosystem. So, for instance, if you upload 1,000 or 10,000 documents into this, then it is not going to be accessible by any other ecosystem that we have on our platform. It'll be specific to you. If that doesn't kind of answer, and I'm not sure who sent the question across, but if that doesn't answer, then I'm happy to be able to get on the line and maybe roll up the sleeves a little bit to talk a little bit more around how we're doing that. Before I get to integration, one of the other questions, which isn't on here, but it's a great question, was around mobile. So we've already created an alpha version of a mobile app that we are testing and looking at now, based on functions that some of our customers have said, yeah, that would be great if we could have that in a mobile app. Sourcing is a very good example. Very quickly, just show me how many customers have, or who's, excuse me, who's the top 10 organizations that have won contracts related to building underwater drones. And it's kind of a very quick, I just need to get their contact information, or I need to understand where they've won the award. Other folks have asked us for more in-depth apps to be able to put on there. So for instance, I want to be able to post a challenge on my mobile phone. So what our mobile version is going to come out likely in the fourth quarter, somewhere around there. But it is not going to be a mobile app with every capability that you have in your ecosystem. Using a mobile device tends to become very specific around use cases. And our goal is not to be able to reinvent our entire platform and all the 50 to 60 different apps that we have on it. However, what we are starting to do is mobile enable those apps that our customers need and kind of makes sense in a mobile environment. And as that continues to come out, we're probably going to reach to a beta team to be able to help us test it. It'll be available on iOS and Android. We've just got the iOS alpha version done now, but that's something that we're coming out with this year. The final kind of piece is around integrations. Jerry talked a little bit earlier around, and he showed kind of an example of the engine that we have to be able to integrate with HubSpot or to be able to integrate with Constant Contact. Right now, we're working on an integration adapter for Salesforce, and that will probably be out very soon. and be added to kind of the list of those integration points. But that's just a start. What we've tried to do is build an engine, and if you folks want to go through and how you do that, and Jerry can kind of walk you through that. We've tried to build an engine that shields our users from the complexity of integration, that also provides us the ability to integrate with to be able to operationalize thousands of other integrations. We're testing and starting, and we're released the HubSpot, the Constant Contact, Salesforce will be next. We're proving that the interface that we have can work in any kind of integration, and assuming and right now we've got many customers that are already integrating with HubSpot and others, but the next step of that is to be able to partner with a number of different integration providers that have already built the kind of behind the scenes, and then we would just expose that as other integration adapters that you can choose. So what you can imagine is right now where you see HubSpot, Constant Contact, and soon to be Salesforce, there would probably be a search bar there that says, what do you want to integrate in? So it could be you're integrating in with Google Docs. It could be you're integrating in with Microsoft Exchange. It could be many of the kind of hundreds, if not thousands, of other integration adapters that are out there right now. Zoho is another one that we've heard. So for now, we're making sure that our interface and the back end is stable enough. And once we've kind of fully tested that, and we've got customers, again, that are using it now, then we're going to open up that interface to the other 1,000 integration points that are out there. So with that, I'll stop. Those are the highlights of the roadmap. There are many other things that are in the works. We're coming up, and this webinar is kind of the first one to start to expose that. We're coming up with other ways that we can even brief our customers on what's coming maybe in 2025, somewhere around there. Obviously, those aren't as refined as, for instance, these are, but it's really important for us to be able to be as transparent as we can around what we're thinking and what's coming. So I'll stop there, Jerry.
All right. Make sure it's not on mute anymore. One other question came in, Jim, and this is around kind of our flexibility in changing names of apps and things like that, because not everybody uses the same terms we do. So it can get confusing at times, and this is all around, will our customers have the flexibility to change these in the future and adapt to their operating models?
Yeah, that's a good question. And we've already started to do that. Earlier, Jerry, you used the term in-network companies. Like, for instance, when somebody logs in and you fill out a form and they immediately go into what we call in-network companies. Other ecosystems don't call them in-network companies. They call them partners, or they call them their community, or they call them so many different things. So right now, within the administration tools of an ecosystem, you can change certain things. Like, for instance, in network companies, you can change that to whatever you want. Communities is another example. That's our term. Other people, like, for instance, with NavalX, their communities are actually called tech bridges. So we built that capability in as well, so that you can rename communities to tech bridges, which then aligns to somebody's business or operating model. You're going to see more of that. For instance, you may not call it market research, you may call it market analysis. And so we're slowly rolling that out into all of our apps. As you would imagine, that the way you have to think about that is, all right, well, what's the name of the app? What's the description? How does that then percolate down into all the pages and screens of the app? So we're taking kind of a systematic approach for every one of those. We do have probably, I'd say, a half dozen others that we're making adjustments on now. But for those that that have or that are using terms that don't make sense for their model in the apps that we have, let us know, and we can let you know whether they're on kind of the roadmap or whether we need to prioritize this.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you, Jim. Yeah, it's exciting being able to customize and name these with the names that best fit your operating model. I've seen another one that we've done is the EcoBot and the ability to change its logo or its image as well as its messaging when you mouse over. And I've seen a good number of ecosystems starting to use that as well. So just a little note on the side. I'm going to go ahead and stop the share now and try to turn my screen back on so you all can see me. Kind of close things out for today. It's been a great session. We're actually under the hour time. It took a little bit longer than we expected. I think I went into probably a little bit more detail than I needed to on some of the stuff that I was showing. But this is something we're going to do every quarter. Please keep an eye out for the invite. There'll be a Zoom invite coming out for you to RSVP. We'll be doing another one of these in September for the updates coming up in the next quarter. And I suspect just based on some of the questions that have come across, some of the conversations I've had with our customer base, we're probably going to either July, August timeframe do a demand scouting and sourcing webinar just to get kind of a deep dive into the scouting and sourcing capabilities of the platform. So with that, unless you have anything else, Jim, let's just go ahead and we can go ahead and end the webinar. And I want to thank everybody for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. And appreciate all of your ideas, your insights, your usage, everything else, all of your ideas or what kind of drives and cranks and keeps us going. So thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Talk to you next time. And my email again is right there on the screen, and feel free to email me if you have any questions or want to set up some individual time. Thanks for attending.
Thanks, Sharon. Thanks, everybody. See you.